Come try hunters, and welcome back to Super Fan Natural. When most people imagine what a demon is supposed to look like, they'll probably think of something dark, hideous, and monstrous, because that's what words like demon and demonic are associated with. However, when it comes to designing its demons, Supernatural took a slightly different approach. On Earth, the show's demons look like amorphous clouds of black or red smoke that fly around and have to possess people in order to really interact with the environment. After acquiring a meat suit, demons don't usually alter their vessel all that much. They can change their host's eyes in one of a few different ways, but that's about it. As a result, any canon images of demons from Supernatural will show a regular person, a person with weird eyes, or a column of spooky gas. Even when we see demons in hell, they still look like regular people, though it does seem like they have some ability to choose how they appear while in their home turf. There are a few weird exceptions, especially in earlier seasons. However, for the most part, demons in Supernatural just don't look all that demonic. However, that may not be the whole story. Throughout the series, we get a few hints that demons may have some kind of coherent true form, one that we just never got to see or hear described in detail. Because we get so little information about the supposed true faces of demons, there's really no way to definitively identify what they look like. However, if you've watched any of my videos, then you know I love to vastly overanalyze minor details in order to make theories that fill in lore holes. And, well, here we are again. To start, let's go over the little information we actually have about the true visage of demons. The whole reason we know they even have a true form is because a few characters caught a glimpse of it, notably Dean Winchester. After selling his soul to a crossroads demon, Dean was given 1 year to live, and in the final stretch of his allotted days, he gained the ability to see past the human vessel and perceive the demon inside. Unfortunately for us, he didn't feel like describing what exactly he saw. However, there are a few bits of information that we can glean from his experience. Firstly, demons apparently are really ugly, which was a pretty safe guess. Secondly, considering that Dean could differentiate between Ruby and Lilith, it means that they don't all look exactly the same. And that is pretty much it. There is one more little detail that we might be able to deduce from Dean. It doesn't seem like demons in Supernatural have horns, at least not in the main universe. We did see a horned demon in the Apocalypse world, referred to as a Tempter demon for some reason, but not only was that in an alternate universe, when Dean heard about it, he was surprised. You could argue that he just hadn't seen any horned demons. However, Cass also looked surprised when he first saw the Tempter, and I feel like he's definitely seen enough demons for that not to shock him. Honestly, the lack of horns would make sense considering what demons are in the world of Supernatural. Instead of being fallen angels, they're human souls who are sent to hell and transformed by brutal, violent torture. In a sense, they're kind of like a special type of ghost. So, then why don't they just look like dead people? After all, most other types of ghosts in the series look like they did in life, just maybe a bit paler and with a grievous wound or two. Well, I think there's two factors at play here. Firstly, it's important to remember that ghosts aren't confined to one unchanging appearance. We saw several instances of ghosts taking on different forms, including some that didn't look like ghosts at all. There are a few different things that can affect a ghost's visage. However, one of the most influential seems to be their own self-perception. For example, the priest Father Gregory believed that he would become an angel after death, so his earthbound spirit took on a bright angelic appearance until Sam and another priest explained his situation. We saw something similar with Gavin's fiancée. Initially, her angry ghost looked like, well, an angry ghost. However, after reuniting with her temporally displaced lover, she retook a more lively look, as she snapped out of her murderous madness. I believe that one of the reasons as to why demons don't look human is because they just don't see themselves in that way anymore. Even if they remember their past life, they just fundamentally don't believe themselves to be that person anymore, and their spiritual form reflects as much. There's also the fact that demons are made using a process that involves actual damage to a person's mind and spirit, which can't really be undone through the power of remembering who you are. Hell changes them in a very tangible way, to the point that they no longer qualify as human souls, even though they kind of still are in a way. I believe that this ties into why demons can't manifest any kind of solid form on Earth. Unlike other ghosts, they were transformed in a dimension that's less concrete. Despite looking perfectly solid, hell can be reshaped much easier than the physical world. After only a few months as king, Crowley was able to change at least part of hell from a pit of pain into an eternal waiting line. It's not just the environment that's less solid. The souls that inhabit hell can also reform. Dean said that during his time downstairs, he would be torn apart every single day, only to be completely restored so that the torture could start all over again. We also see that demons have some kind of shape-shifting ability while in their home dimension, as we saw one take the form of Sam, and we hear about others impersonating both Sam and Dean. For me, this suggests that when a soul becomes a demon, its new form is calibrated to the physics of hell. This means that while in the pit, they have a tangible, coherent form, one that they can change for fun, but on Earth, they can't solidify because they're just not built for that world anymore. Now, there is one exception to what I just said, one that I'm sure some people have already left comments about. In Season 2, we saw a creature called an Achiri demon, which, unlike any other demon in the show, could actually manifest a solid form on Earth. It could also change its appearance at will, changing from a little girl to a more demonic-looking hag with long claws, sharp teeth, and 2 different colored eyes, and overall just a hideous face. Ever since we first saw this Achiri, some fans have speculated that its ugly side could be its true form, and I'm not going to lie, that could very well be accurate. This right here could be a peek at what demons really look like. So, mystery solved? Well, maybe, but I really don't think so. This could very well be my bias talking, but I just don't buy that this is the true face of evil. Firstly, we know that Achiri can shapeshift, so this could just be another form it takes to terrify its victims. If this is its real face, it could also just be an Achiri-specific look. After all, they're already unique in their ability to manifest corporeal topside, so it stands to reason that they might also just look completely different from most demons. Again, I'll fully admit that this is a lot of personal bias here, but I just think there's a better answer. So if demons don't look like the Achiri, or the Tempter, or regular ghosts, then what the hell do they really look like? We don't have much information about the demon-making process. However, we do know that it involves damned souls being tortured until they've lost most of their humanity. In fact, many demons don't even remember that they used to be human. The way I picture it, as these souls are torn apart and put back together, they start to internalize their pain. It becomes a part of them, and so less of them comes back from each round of torture. Basically, they start reforming with more damage and less flesh, until eventually, there's nothing left but a spooky spectral skeleton. We have actually seen skeletal ghosts in the show before, when Chuck opened a rupture into hell. Among the spirits that fly out, some take a regular ghostly form. However, many look like skeletons with glowing red eyes and innards. Now, these things are confirmed to be ghosts. However, I personally believe that what we're seeing here are souls that are right on the cusp of demonification, with only the faintest embers of humanity flickering on within them, giving off a reddish-orange glow like a dying sun. Given a bit more time and torment, I believe that the light within these spirits will be snuffed out, and their ethereal bones will be left twisted, scarred, and blackened by the fires of hell. The familiar features that could be identified as human will be warped and distorted, their teeth filed down into fangs, their jaws bifurcated and stretched, their fingers elongated and sharpened into claws. Basically, I believe that, on their home turf, demons look a lot like Dementors from the Harry Potter movies. Just ghostly black skeletal creatures cloaked in a thin veil of black smoke, maybe with a thin layer of ashen ghostly flesh. Except instead of having featureless faces, their mugs look like deformed skulls with only the vague resemblance of that of a human. If you don't believe me, then don't worry, I have a little bit more evidence. The closest we ever got to actually seeing a demon's real face came all the way back in Season 2, when Azazel was yoinked out of his meat suit by the ghost of John Winchester. Outside of the janitor, Old Yellow Eyes' evil essence retains a humanoid shape for a few seconds, and as he wrestles with John, we get a very quick glimpse of the spot where his face would be. It's really hard to make out, but to me, a couple of the frames make it look like a skull. Still a bit shaky, but I do have one more bit of evidence to show you. Going back to Season 15, we see that the halls of hell are lined with these weird statues of cloaked figures. We don't get a very good look at them, however, in one shot, we do get to see that these things are skeletal. Now, these could be meant to represent the skeletal souls of the damned I mentioned earlier. However, in this theory, they could also be demons, as I believe those two things are just one step removed from one another. So, in conclusion, I believe that, while in hell, a demon's true form appears as a ghostly skeletal monstrosity with charred, blackened features that are mangled and twisted in ways that are unique to each individual demon. In order to really give you guys a sense of what I'm thinking, I decided to have some art made. This is how I personally envisioned Supernatural's demons in their natural state. Thank you to Gus from Fiverr. He did a really great job, and I'm going to link his page in the description, so if you've got any art needs, you guys can check him out. Anyway, because demons were reforged in a dimension that is more chaotic and malleable, they can change their shape at will. However, on Earth, things are a little too concrete, and they can't take a coherent form, thus appearing as black smoke. I'd be willing to say that there are probably a few exceptions. For example, I don't know why a Cheery can manifest and shapeshift on Earth, but since they can, maybe their demon form looks a little bit different. Also, since Crowley is the only demon to have red smoke, I personally believe that his skeletal soul is either entirely red, or maybe it's got crimson-colored cracks scattered across his demonic bones. Beyond that, I believe that each demon is differentiated by the specific ways that their dark skeletal form is shaped and mangled. Some might be larger than others, and I definitely think that they retain their demonic eyes in hell. And yeah, that's basically what I think demons look like in Supernatural. But what do you guys think? Do you agree, or do you have a better idea? You know how to let me know, so, just fucking do it. Thanks again to Gus on Fiverr. Not only did he deliver exactly what I asked for, he did it really fast. I'll have more for you guys soon, but for now, carry on